Welcome back to The Unpopular Opinion, Becoming Popular. My name is Yana the Heretic, and we will be discussing the last gate of the quarter of duality, the gate that sums up all of these experiences that we have been struggling with in our relationships, ones that we have been working with, the people that are coming to us that are new and creating new relationships and just evolving those relationships that we already have. So after this transit, we're going to be focusing more on our personal mutation rather than focusing on how our relationships have affected us and our growth. And this is going to be a potent one. It is called the Gate of Alertness, Gate 44, and it's considered to be coming to meet. And not like meat that you eat, it's like people coming to meet you head on. And this transit was filtering on October 30th to November 5th. It is our last gate of Minerva, the goddess, Greek goddess of strategy and leadership, tribal leadership. This is another tribal gate, and it is specifically the fear of another splenic tribal gate, that is the fear of the past. So these people are always moving away from something. Fear makes you move away from something, or it makes you move towards something because you want to escape your fear. You want to face it head on and say, whatever, fear, I don't want to listen to you today. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. So specifically, the fear of the past is the fear of reliving something that was traumatic. So this is the PTSD that is actually in your T cells, in your lymphatic system, the sensation of something being alarming to you. And this is filtering in our Scorpio season, and the reason why I actually got a scorpion tattoo on my throat. Scorpions are very nurturing. They're very nurturing to their young and to their family. And at the same time, they deliver a lethal dose to those that are harming them or their young. And this is in the Scorpio season. So this is very much about being alert, knowing which is which. Is this going to be a harmful person to me? Is this going to be a person that, is going to activate either satisfaction or success, peace or surprise? And those are the high self, not the high self, the self activations for each type of energy type. So if you're in the right place at the right time, you're going to experience satisfaction as a generator. If you're in the right place at the right time and you made the correct decision, you're going to experience success as a projector. And then it goes on. For manifestors, it's peace. And for reflectors, it is surprise. So these are the personnel managers of the tribe, the tribal leaders. They're looking for people to support. They're looking for soul. They're looking for those that have something really interesting to sell. And, usually it's expression or art or music, whatever it may be. And whether they're an actor or a natural born, creative spirit. These are people that are working with others and connecting with others in order to really support what they believe in and who they believe in. It comes naturally to them. Now, the dark aspect of it is being the devil. This is on the cross of 4 ways. So, who do we see at the crossroads? We see the devil, and the devil is always looking for people to sell their soul, right? So they say. And this is the type of personnel manager that becomes manipulative and makes you the money mule, the one that changes the script. Originally you had this talent, you had your lyrics, but then they're like, no, we're going to change this up, we're going to write your music for you. And then, you go into this weird spiral. So you got to watch out for that. And realistically, Gate 44s are wanting to support your heart, your soul, your beauty. And they want to see you succeed because the world needs you. That's the lighter note of this gate, where, this is, the tribe that we're forming in order to be successful. So everyone gets a share in this success. I help you, you help me. We both get to inspire the world. We both get to be successful. I consider this to be the person in the city that, dodges you like it's the Matrix, or the person that finds Waldo, You remember Where's Waldo? So it's definitely the person that has the scent activated. They not only sense the right people in the room, but they have a smell for them. And that sounds weird, but a lot of our attraction comes from pheromones. And if we're thinking about the splenic center, this is instinct. So what do all animals have naturally? What are all mammals? How do they save themselves in the world? It's from instinct, and a lot of us have forgotten about instinct because, we're not cavemen anymore, but, or we don't really hunt and gather anymore as much. But those that do have this instinct, they're like, oh yeah, I feel like there's something walking in the woods. I feel like there's a smell in the air that is, attracting me to this deer, so I can provide for my family so they won't be hungry. So this is very much a part of Gate 44. And there's always people coming to meet you if you're at the crossroads, right? So, you have to be alert, because it does depend on, your safety. Your safety depends on it. Your life depends on it. That's all the splenic center is here to do, is to provide you that security that you're going to withstand danger. Now, a lot of people that don't have their spleen defined, they tend to believe that they're invincible. A lot of the time they hang on to things for too long that aren't good for them, whether it's habits, whether it's people, and they can literally deteriorate being with the wrong people, but they will not feel comfortable changing their environment. So it is important to listen to those people that have their spleen defined and be like, hey dude, you should get out of there. Maybe you should stop smoking a pack a day. And of course, a lot of people aren't willing to change, and that's just how it is. They will go to the grave with these habits or with these people. And I never really understood why people choose to just consume the things that provide, untimely death, So I want to note that the last gate that we were in was the channel, was part of the channel of struggle. And the channel of struggle is 3828. And that was more individual, like the individual's struggle. And this one is surrender. So even though you have this fear of the past, the PTSD in your body, that does save you, but you do have to surrender, at the same time. And it's more so surrendering to the market that finds you, surrendering to the fact that, if you especially don't have the harmonic gate 26, the gate of the egoist, this is hard. It's a challenging gate to have on its own, because you are meant to really guide, but you don't know how to manage people. You don't know how to do that enough. All you can do is really observe and have these specifics that you're looking for in people. And you're hoping that within the channel of surrender, 4426, you're really hoping to transmit and be the transmitter of this, hey, maybe if I'm just gonna be here now, these people will want to see me as the leader. And you really are waiting for your market to find you so you can be the leader of that market. Whether or not you have gate 26, gate 26 just helps you really manage those people, have the willpower to manage once you get that role. Otherwise, you're just kind of floating around being like, here I am, here's my energy. Like, we could probably be really successful together. I'm just going to be here, in case you need something from me. So my partner actually has both the channel of struggle and the channel of surrender, and he's very highly splenic, and it's really interesting to watch because you really can't, like, he has no head or ajna awareness, so you can't rely on the mind to tell you something. That's the hardest thing about learning this process, is like, oh shit, my mind is like fucking wrong, it tells me wrong things. So, and especially here, if you don't have any head or ajna, you can't rely on, your thoughts. Especially, you can't rely on your thoughts anyway, even if you have it defined. To make decisions, you can rely on memory. You can rely on you knowing the answer to something, but you can't rely on making decisions from your head. So the spleen is dividing here for him. It's like, oh, like, I have to be extremely alert to gauge what's going on here. And when I had brought this to his attention, he was like, yeah, like, this is me, really listening to those people, like, and he's a drum teacher, so he is like, oh, somebody needs, like, help playing drums. Did I just overhear that? Oh shit, okay, well, I could just be like, hey, like, I could help you with that. Or I'm a drum teacher, and then just kind of going off of that, and if they're like, yeah, or they give you kind of a shitty answer, and then it's like, well, fuck you then. Yeah. So it's really funny, because it's like, okay, here's like all my music, here's all my passions, here it is out in public. But then if somebody is like, I don't like this, then you're like, well, it's not for you, you're a loss. That's the two together, which is kind of the opposite of each other. But it's, these gates are right next to each other as well. So that is the wrap up of this quarter of duality. And if anything, we have learned, through and through the last 4 months, who is there for us and who is going to just be at the acquaintance level. We have learned who we are in relationships, because we have gotten a lot of reflection potentially on how we are functioning in relationships. We have got to know new people, and perhaps these new people will be the ones that will stick, the ones that will be there for you in your community. And there's relationships that have definitely ended through this period of time, because we have seen some eclipse periods, which are heavy periods for people. So, now it's time to bring attention to ourselves and really transform. And it's perfect for the winter. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so it's starting to become winter time, and we get to transform in like our little cocoon throughout this period of time. So I think it's all aligning pretty greatly. Surrender is crucial in relationships, right? Because the people that hurt you in the past are not the same people that you're meeting today. Perhaps they have similarities, but if you have this spleen, sometimes there are things that trigger you, and it is correct to move away from them, for your safety. But, a lot of the time for most of us, it's surrendering to the fact that, hey, maybe this person is going to be different. And that is crucial in relationships. And I want to just point that out. Because I like to consider this term, it's a very Yana term. I like to blank slate myself, where transformation is about knowing that just because you got hurt once doesn't mean that that's going to happen all the time, repeatedly. There are definite red flags. There are definite things that you learned that you don't want in your relationships. And definitely stick to them. And, if you don't have a spleen, then get as much advice as you can. And I know that it may not really adhere yet, but, years keep moving on, and we're shedding a lot in the snake year. So, we're building a new backbone while shedding our skin. It's an intense time, and I hope that you've all learned a lot this particular year. I'm personally really happy that we're gonna go on to a fire horse year. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, fear is meant to move you away from something or towards something. Liquid memory holds a resonance in your membranes. So, it's real, and especially if you have a spleen, you do want to watch out for what, your spiny senses are telling you, what your smell is telling you. And you can rely on your body to attract the right people. And, just remember that if you have a spleen, just remember, especially if you have this gate. If you want to know if you have this gate, please message me directly. Please comment. If you have any questions, let me know. I still do have a deal going on. If you want to know about yourself, I am doing a really in-depth session for 2 hours, specifically just for you. It's $125 for this session. Don't miss out. It's going to be the deal for the rest of this year. And we're going into the questions of the week. What are the alerts that fired in your system this transit? Where did you end up as a result? Do you remember a time where someone was drawn to your work? Did you get an extraordinary opportunity to be heard or seen as a result? Do people come to you just as often as you come to them? What attributes in a person make you comfortable approaching somebody? How can you think outside of the box in order to express yourself? Have you ever relied on smell to attract you to somebody or away from them? I think that's a lot of us, right? We have a lot of stinky friends, man. What is the next action you take? Is it a silent action, like you move away from them? Or is it like, holy shit, dude, like get the fuck away? It all depends, right? So I hope you enjoyed this quarter. If you want to share your wrap up with me, please do that. And I will see you next transit in the quarter of mutation under the Godhead Hades. My